This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
April 19th, 1986. Wrestling history at the Superdome in New Orleans. Fans from all over the world came to see 24 of the greatest tag teams in the world. 5 of the Jim Crockett Sr. Memorial Cup and $1 million. Plus for the World Heavyweight title, Ric Flair, and a match for the UWA North American Heavyweight title. Let's go to the action.
Place to Be Nation. Hi, my name is Jennifer Smith, and welcome to this network special. We're going to be talking about Crockett Cup 1986 tonight. And, of course, I would not be talking to myself because, good Lord, who wants to listen to that? I'm here with the host of You Don't Know Billy Jack, which you can find on the PTBN wrestling feed. His name is Drew Wardlaw, I think is his name. Hi, Drew.
Yes. Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm excited to talk some Crockett Cup tonight.
I know. It's amazing, right?
Amazing.
All right. And then on making his debut on any podcast ever, which I'm surprised by, we have Matt Souza. Hi, Matt. How you doing?
Good. How you doing? Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I don't know why I just assumed you had done a podcast before, and you're like, nope, first time.
No. I've done some written stuff, but never any podcasting. Nobody wanted me on their show.
Aww.
So.
Well, their loss is our gain because I'm sure you're going to be awesome,
right.
And we love popping cherries. I mean, so we can do that.
Hey, speak for yourself. Huh?
I always do. So, a little bit about Crockett Cup. I guess my perspective of it, which, I mean, probably most people know that I'm fairly new to wrestling. I love it and love the old stuff especially, but I not have a huge wealth of knowledge, but I'm willing to learn, and I hear that makes up for a lot of it. So, I just, randomly saw that it dropped as a hidden gem on the network, and I was like, well, that sounds awesome. I think I need to watch that. And it was mentioned that we should probably do a podcast about it, so I was like, hey, I will try that out. Never seen that show. I think it should be cool. Matt, have you seen the show before? Was it new for you?
Yeah, this whole thing was new for me. I had heard that, there was like a highlight tape or something that came out in the 80s. Mm-hmm. But I've never even seen that. And, as far as the full show, this is the first time it's been out there, right?
Right. Yeah.
So, yeah, I've maybe seen highlights of maybe the finals, but that's probably it, maybe. But, yeah, this was most of this era of NWA is kind of a big blind spot for me.
Oh, okay.
I have a little bit of knowledge, like, from this time period, but most of it, my knowledge is, like, 90s type stuff. Mm-hmm. So this is, like, I know, like, the names of all the guys that were in it, mm-hmm. But as far as, like, seeing all these matches, no, I haven't seen any of them before watching it,
Well, that makes me feel better. Usually I talk to people who know this crap in and out, and, like, backwards and forwards, so I feel a little bit lost.
Yeah.
What about you, Drew?
Yeah, so I mean, obviously I hadn't seen the full show before since it was just released, but yeah, I had seen the highlight tape before because it's pretty available online, and I mean this is something that I've really been wanting to see. I mean, so the famous match on here is the Sheep Herders versus the Fantastics, and so that was
right,
just to give like a little bit of history, like you mentioned, Matt, it was released on a highlight tape, or it was released as like a 2-hour just clips, like a highlight tape, so you didn't get any full matches, and they did that for 86, 87, and 88, and they're kind of hard to watch all the way through, because you don't, I mean, it's Crockett, so it's kind of edited poorly, and it's confusing, and you don't really know what's going on, and it's, just clips here and there, and so, I had seen that before, and the famous match is like I said, the Sheepherders versus the Fantastics, and that's one. Dave Meltzer said it was a 5-star match. He was there live, I guess, but the only thing we've ever been able to see is just it's like an 8-minute clipped version that's on that highlight tape, which is cool, but you can't really judge it too much because you're only seeing 8 minutes of like what is the match. It's like 20 minutes long or something, so I was like really, really excited about this. This is one that I've really been wanting to see, and I that the footage exists, but you just never saw it before, and I don't know, it's crazy. I was so excited, and it's like between this, that Tom McGee Bret Hart match, and the last Battle of Atlanta all coming out within the last couple of years, it's like, I mean, it's so crazy, who would have ever thought?
So would you compare this to, like, as big of a release as Last Battle of Atlanta? Like that type of deal, or?
I mean, it's less than Last Battle of Atlanta. I mean, Last Battle of Atlanta, and I wasn't even, like, a big PWI guy, or, I wasn't big into the magazines.
Right. So...
that wasn't even as big for me as for other people, but that was just this absolutely legendary match, and it was like, the tapes, they were in Ole Anderson's car, but he left him on in the car in the back seat during the summer, and the tape melted, so the tapes don't exist, and all this like mythology built up around it, and same thing I think to a little bit lesser extent even at the Tom McGee Bret Hart match. There's this legend about it and this mythology of these guys, they work for WWE, but they can never get the match, and like this never had that kind of history behind it, but it is one that Crockett fans and real like hardcore fans have been wanting to see, and just haven't been able to, so it's like it's a really big deal. Probably again not like quite on the level of Last Battle of Atlanta, but I mean really, really big, and it's so cool that like even if you don't care about Crockett or anything at all, it's like just the fact that this previously unavailable thing that people thought, we're never going to be able to see the full matches, or this doesn't even exist, but it does. It's so cool. Right. And it just makes you wonder. Oh, go ahead.
No, I think we were gonna say the same thing. It makes you wonder how much other footage they have, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What else they have locked away in a vault somewhere in Connecticut or wherever. Yeah,
it's crazy. It's so exciting.
It's in Vince's bedroom. He just keeps it locked up.
Oh.
Yeah, everything in Vince's bedroom.
Somewhere.
Yeah. A painting of himself, right?
Of course. A naked picture of himself. Okay.
Right next to the barbells and the steroid pills.
That's right.
And the ICO Pro.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So at first...
hoarded ICO Pro. just years and years of unsold product.
You want to get jacked? Eat some of this, pal.
The vascularity.
I didn't know I was getting Vince impressions tonight. That's a bonus. Yeah. Keep them coming.
Man, that's one thing. Sorry to go on a tangent, but like, it doesn't matter who it is. I always love a Vince impression. It doesn't matter how bad or how good. They're always awesome. They're always funny.
Because he's the best. My son does a pretty good one as well. It's pretty great. I showed him that Life Sucks and Then You Die promo, and then he said it for like a week afterwards. It cracked me up every time.
Yeah, here's what you have to look forward to, son.
Okay, all right. So, if I'm being honest with you guys, I was like, when I volunteered to do the show or whatever, I was like, I really want to watch this, but I don't even know what a Crockett Cup is. Like, what is this? So Wikipedia told me what I needed to know, but is there anything that you think we should talk about before we start getting into the matches?
Yeah, I mean, we could just give like all. if you don't mind, I'll just give just a real quick kind of overview
Sure,
of what the
yeah.
Crockett Cup was. So it was a tag team tournament hosted by, it was like a joint promotion, mostly between Crockett, JCP, Jim Crockett Promotions, and Mid-South, Bill Watts' Mid-South Wrestling. And they also had guys from like Central States. They had Baba and Tiger Mask from Japan. So it was kind of the idea was like this big joint promoted show. No one from WWF, of course, but kind of all the other promotions mostly. So they would all come together, and it was really marketed as like a destination type show, like kind of like a WrestleMania weekend thing where they wanted people to travel, from all over the country. And they really if you watch the TV from from around this time, and then especially, I think they went even harder on it for the '87 one, which was in Baltimore. But they did these little ads for Baltimore, like for the '87 one, where they said, "Oh, come to Baltimore. There's this beautiful harbor. There's the downtown." You know what I mean? So they're really trying to sell it as this big event, and it was cool. They held this one in the Superdome, and they had it was two shows, so it was like an afternoon show and an evening show, and neither one of them drew very well. I think the afternoon one was like 3,000 people, 3,500, and that's in the Superdome, so it holds 70,000 people or something. And then the nighttime show was 13,000, I think, or 13,500, which that's a lot of people, but again, like in a 70,000, seat building, it's not so much. Right. But so that was kind of the idea, is these two big promotions coming together to promote the show, and then adding in these other supplemental smaller promotions as well. So and like I said, they did one for 86, 87, and 88.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that later on we'll talk about kind of the style, like how it's filmed and stuff. You don't really get much of a sense of the room being empty. So they at least do good with not making you realize how sort of small the shows were. Yeah,
that's a good point, actually. Yeah, I mean, you really you can't see. It's pretty dark in there, huh?
Yeah.
You can't really tell.
Not lit very well. So that's it adds to it, Another thing that I wondered about was the $1 million. So that's the prize.
And we saw the check.
Yes, we did.
Yep.
And I'm not really familiar with there being purses in wrestling matches. Is this a kind of a rare type thing?
Not really. I mean, there would for Crockett, Tully Blanchard, he would put up $10,000 every time he would defend the TV title or something. But yeah, the idea of this, I mean, they would do it other times as well. I don't know, Matt, were you gonna say something? Did you have some examples?
Well, it's just it made I think the fact that they had that the tournament was going to be for $1 million, it made the tournament kind of feel like a big deal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, the winner of this thing is going to, walk off with $1 million. It kind of gave a little extra juice to it,
Yeah.
Did they actually get paid $1 million, legit?
I'm gonna say no.
I'm gonna say that as well.
Yeah, no, I don't believe so. Although knowing Crockett at the time and how they were spending money, I could see that.
Oh my God!
But no, it wouldn't surprise me necessarily. But no, I don't think so. But yeah, they would do that other times. I think the '84 Starrcade match between Dusty and Flair, that was supposed to be for $1 million purse as well.
Yeah.
So they would do it periodically. But I mean, if wrestling has told us anything, then no, they did not actually get paid $1 million.
I wonder what $1 million in cocaine looks like.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was just gonna say. Imagine some of those miscreants with $1 million.
I know.
My
yeah,
God.
that's no.
Yeah, give Road Warrior Hawk $1 million.
Never see him again.
I forgot what comedian said this, but it's something like, "Oh, the night ends with these cuffs hurt," something like that. Yeah.
All right, so I'd ask you guys, like, how do you want to talk about the show? This was pre me watching this show, right? Because I just waited till today, because that's how I am as a person.
Yeah, it's fresh in your mind.
Yeah, and so originally I was like, okay, surely we're not going to talk about every single match here. But then I had thoughts about every single match here. I'm like, this show is going to be 4 hours long. Somebody's going to have to rein me in. Because the first match was just like mind-blowing. Like I
it was awesome.
I wasn't ready for it. It was what are they called? I wrote the Fabs because I handwrote.
Yeah,
this.
so
They were the fabulous ones.
The fabulous ones.
Right.
And my new favorite old tag team, the Fantastics. Aptly
and so
named.
you had not seen the Fantastics before?
Never seen either one of these guys before, ever.
Oh, awesome.
Never even heard of them. So
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, I guess we should, if we're doing our due diligence, we should say that in fact this is not the full complete show. That there were a couple matches. It starts, I think, the sixth match in. So we did miss some early matches, but it was Bobby Jaggers and Mike Miller versus.
I have the matches here if you want me to read them off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So we had Wahoo McDaniel and Mark Youngblood defeated Bobby Jaggers and Mike Miller. We had Nelson Royal and Sam Houston defeated the Batten Twins. Should I know who the Batten Twins are?
No, they were from. I think they were in like Central States at this time. They were like a lower level, like C-list. Babyface tag team that would kind of bounce around the territories.
C-list that high?
Yeah, well, I don't know. Well, because they would show up on like some like Battle of the Belts type shows, or they were on one of those weird Crockett shows, and like they were in Puerto Rico, and that kind of thing. But yeah, maybe C-list is giving them a little bit too much credit.
Then we had Jimmy Valiant and Manny Fernandez. They defeated Baron Von Raschke and the Barbarian. Terry Taylor and Steve Williams defeated Bill Dundee and Buddy Landell. And the Sheepherders defeated Hector and Chavo Guerrero.
Oh.
So, that's it. And then it picks up with the next match, the Network Cup.
Yeah, it started out just like there was no preamble. It was just like, look, you're in the middle of this match. Like,
yeah, right.
Things are chaotic, but really that style, it threw me at first because number one, there's no commentary, which I'm not familiar with non-commentary matches pretty much at all. So it focuses your attention. Like I didn't get to look at my phone as nearly as much today because
same. I'm the same way. Oh my god,
it made me watch what was happening, and then I think that is a good thing for me because I think it helps my appreciation and admiration of the matches. But it still does need something because I saw Tony Schiavone later on sitting ringside, and I thought he could be talking to me about this right now. I wish he was. And I couldn't see who was with him. I know Bruce Pritchard was there, but I think somebody else was ringside with him later. And I couldn't tell who it was.
It was JR, right, Matt?
I think you're right. He does the ring announcing for the Mid-South title match, I think, later on in the night.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was him sitting with Tony ringside or not. And then somebody kept saying, 5 minutes have gone by. Anyway, so, but this match, like, knocked me out. It was filmed like documentary style is the way I thought of it. Like, you're right there, and it would get these weird zoom-ins at odd spots, but I don't know, somehow I really liked it. It wasn't slick. You didn't get, like, the wide shots of the ring. It was like right there, all up in the middle of it.
Yeah, because this is just it's essentially the raw footage of the show.
Right.
So for the first few matches, it's just a single cam, from the floor, which is it's pretty jarring. no matter what, it's just to see something old like that, but it creates this whole new experience. Kind of like you said, there's no commentary, there's no camera switching, so it's like it creates an intimacy that we're not really familiar with. Something that's almost 35 years old. Watching something in that way, like watching something that intimate.
Mm-hmm.
That's that old.
And then it just. I'm trying to collect my thoughts about this match, but I have so many. It's really hard, even with my copious notes here. I kept thinking it feels like the Wild West of wrestling out here. It was because all the guys are just in amazing shape. There's no erroneous fat anywhere on these 4 guys. They're tip top, and they're huge, right. And they just were relentless with each other. It was. They did some great arm work that just kept going on in the match, and I thought this guy's arm is just going to fucking fall off, and I had to keep saying this guy because I couldn't tell anybody apart.
Yeah, because they all looked exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Except the heels had beards. That's the only way you could.
Bleach blonde hair,
Yes.
Yeah, bleach blonde mullets.
Right.
And I'm that one guy's arms get ripped off.
This show, if I could jump ahead a bit, so many mullets all over this show.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we could have a quick hair conversation, it really does encapsulate the 2 predominantly male hairstyles of the 1980s, which would be, really they're summed up in the Fantastics. Bobby Fulton with the mullet, and then Tommy Rogers with the nondescript 80s male haircut.
The feathered kind of look.
It's it's very hard to logistically understand because it's a short haircut, but there's a lot of hair and it's feathered, but it's I don't. It's parted down the middle, but only kind of, and I don't know. So it's Ted DiBiase, Tommy Rogers, Don Johnson, the guy from Ski School,
Mark
Tony
Harmon.
Danza, Mark Harmon. Yeah. Everyone had it. You either had a mullet or you had the whatever haircut that is. But I don't even know how to fully describe it.
No, I agree. Yeah.
My God, just everywhere.
Yeah.
One of the Garvins, I think, had the worst hair. Not I kept getting confused. Not Jimmy, but the other one. Ronnie. Maybe
Ron
it was
Garvin.
the other one. Yeah.
Well, so Gorgeous Jimmy has the big curly dark hair.
That's awful. Right. That's
my man.
Legit awful.
Yeah, Gorgeous Jimmy.
No. Anyway. Another great spot in this match, which I already told you guys about, but one of the guys gets his trunks pulled down and just bare ass, and I was not expecting it because I was watching it very closely, and then it's he just got his trunks pulled down, his ass right there in the middle of the ring, and I kind of lost it a little bit. I thought it was hilarious.
I think that happened to him a second time too later on, didn't it?
It sure did.
Dude, tie your drawstrings together. What are you doing? My God.
Yeah, right off the bat. So that's Bobby Fulton.
Yes.
So right off the bat. And then did he bleed in this match? I
forget.
No,
it was the next one. No,
so
it was
the Sheep Herders match.
The Sheep Herders, yeah.
I couldn't remember if he bled in this one as well, but right off the bat, you're getting, some tanned bare buns by Bobby Fulton. So it really sets the stage for the rest of the show, in my opinion.
They kept doing all of these things that I've never seen before. At one point, there's he crawls on his hands and knees and charges and headbutts the guy on the mat. I'm like, what the fuck? He looked like a bull charging. I've never seen that before. And they just kept doing all this crap, and I'm like, what the hell is happening in this match? I was just eating it up. It was awesome. It was amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, great match. I'm glad. So Matt, you hadn't seen these teams either before, right?
I've seen the Fantastics.
Okay.
Because I've seen like some of the late 80s, 88, 89 stuff.
Yeah.
But I had never seen like the Fabulous ones before. I had heard of them, but I had never seen them in a match.
Yeah. So what did you think?
I thought it was the first of many great matches for the Fantastics on this night.
Yeah.
So, and this, honestly, this might have been my least favorite of the three of them.
Really?
But it was still, really good. I think that just shows how great of a night they had on this night. I mean, they were on fire.
It was amazing. Like
through the whole night.
I might actually agree with you, but yeah. I mean, we'll get to it, but man, this was awesome. It was like, as an opener, it was like fast paced. You got, the bare buns, you got them just like, I don't know. It was a perfect opener. Yep. Like I said, like real fast paced, but it kept that kind of classic, like Bobby Fulton selling the whole time and then getting fired up on the floor, and perfect opener.
They do these great hot tags too.
They sure do.
Consistently through all three matches, just build it up, just perfect. I mean, it was like, it was just such a release by the time you got that tag. You were just like, finally. And at the end of this, I put ratings on these, even though I'm not much of a star rater. I did like 4.5 stars. So I don't know. If
sounds good to me.
I don't know if you guys did star ratings on any of these.
I didn't do any on the early matches. I did some later on, but
I'm not a star rating guy.
Yeah,
so
it's not really my super thing. Like, I kind of do it, but mostly I just like to babble excitedly about the things that I liked about the match.
Yeah, that's more fun.
Pretty much. All right, do y'all want to move on to the next one? Because I have thoughts about all these, so I mean, I will stop at all of them.
Hey,
y'all can move me along if you want.
I'm good. We'll see. We'll see how the time goes. We may start.
This could be a part 1 of 2.
It could be.
Right. Yeah.
So the next match is Rick Steiner and Buzz Sawyer versus the Italian Stallion and Coco Beware, which I was like, what is this matchup?
I was very disappointed it wasn't Rocky Balboa. I'll just say that outright. I think Rocky Balboa and Coco Beware would be one of the greatest teams of all time.
Yeah.
I am on record saying that. Mark the tape.
28-34. But like, wow, Coco is a star in this match. He did everything wonderfully, and he got his ass beat for a large majority of the match.
Mm-hmm.
Sure did.
You know what stuck out to me in this match, and then the Coco Beware match later was, and really, like, it's kind of a theme if you watch throughout the whole show is how hard everyone's working.
Oh my God.
Even in the pinfall attempts, like you watch Coco getting pinned, and he's not laying there taking a 2 count and then kicking out. He's struggling the entire time through each count. And it's like it's pretty incredible when you sit down and watch the show afterwards. Like, everyone was like, I mean, it was such a cool atmosphere, and you could tell there was such this like neat energy in the ring and in the building that everyone was just like going for it as hard as they could. I mean, you saw that bump that Buzz Sawyer takes in the match,
where
he just flies between the ropes. Yeah.
And Coco took a horrible shot on the outside there on the floor. I was like, oh shit! I think he got his fucking back broke. It was fucking horrible.
Yeah, and this is a Bill Watts building, so there's no mats on the ground. Of course,
nowhere.
Yeah.
Can we talk about how weird it was that Rick Steiner didn't have a singlet on?
Yeah, that was weird. I lost all my sexual attraction to Daddy Steiner without
what a star he looked like, though.
Yeah, right?
Like Yeah, he looked. I mean, putting the singlet on him
That's
actually
huge.
makes him look like he looks kind of lesser than once he has the singlet on him. But he had hairstyle B,
Oh, yes.
so which he wore quite well.
Yeah, well,
So, was Steiner in the NWA at this point, or was he for UWF or?
Yeah, he was in UWF.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so when they merge, when Crockett buys UWF in 1987, then Rick Steiner goes over there.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. But this one was another good match. It
was good.
It wasn't quite as good as the first one. Maybe a little long, but
a little bit,
I don't know.
Yeah.
But Coco, I didn't know Coco had the Birdman gimmick before he went to WWF. So I don't know when
he
that
had like
started.
a parrot or something on his.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Okay.
his thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think he had that in Memphis, at least not in in the early '80s. So I don't know when when he started the gimmick.
Sorry. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh,
Continue. I should not allow my son to text me while I'm podcasting.
okay.
He just said my balls hurt. And I was like,
Yeah, well,
what do you want me to do? What?
And what would you like me to do
I mean, like-
to remedy this situation?
I'm going to stop. I'm going to talk about your balls on my podcast. And what are we doing? Okay. Did anybody have anything else about that one?
yeah, not really.
Yeah, no, just that bump that Buzz did off of that Coco Beware dropkick where he throws himself to the floor.
Yeah.
I mean, just unbelievable carelessness for your own body. My God. Like, unreal.
And I think Buzz Sawyer is a really cool name. Why do you need Mad Dog on there?
Mad Dog Buzz Sawyer, that adds it, right? That adds to it.
I
Don't
like
you think?
Buzz Sawyer. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
what
I get it.
I was like, the Mad Dog just kind of takes away from the little pun there, but
I mean,
right.
if you drop the "ur," then he's just Buzzsaw.
Buzzsaw, which I kind
Buzzsaw.
of like too. You know, if it kind
Yeah.
of fits with him, I can see that. All right. So the next match was Black Bart. Oh my God, and his hair with Jim Garvin and Precious, of course,
And Precious, his squeeze, as he called her.
versus Dave Peterson and Brett Sawyer, who I'd never heard of.
All-star tag team.
Yeah.
Truly.
This one was kind of meh for me. Like, it was fine. I didn't really have any notes. It was just like,
Yeah, I mean, this was kind of just a match.
yeah.
Yeah, just a match. I did want to just point out Jimmy Garvin's dangerously botched brainbuster finish.
Oh God. Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
He would, that his finish is a brainbuster, but it always looks really, really bad. And this one, he didn't even, I forget who he even pinned, but he didn't get him up all the way, and it was like, it was kind of like a Goldberg jackhammer on the Undertaker from a few weeks ago.
Jesus.
Oh my God. Yeah, there were a couple of those on this show, actually.
But I do love Jimmy Garvin. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. He's incredible around this time. He would, on the TV, he cuts these like insane, just coke fueled rambling promos where he tries he tries to pigeonhole or he tries to like really weasel in these bizarre phrases and catchphrases. Like he'll say, "It ain't my fault," but he'll just throw it in out of nowhere. Hello, Magnum TA, I'm going to beat you, and it ain't my fault. Dusty Rhodes is a sick individual. He would say sick individual, and then, like, accuse him of it being gay or something. It's, it's really bizarre. Sure, yeah.
Oh, my God.
But, yeah, terrible. He would come out to Sharp Dressed Man and dance around the ring wearing little gloves.
Ugh.
Well, then, if he comes out to Sharp Dressed Man, I mean, he gets bonus points for that.
That's right.
But minus for that hair.
Oh yeah, the hair balances it back
Yeah,
out again.
for sure.
So, you know.
He only gets better from there. He joins the Freebirds and becomes Jimmy Jam Garvin.
Oh God, yeah,
yeah.
that Jimmy Garvin I know.
Oh yeah, especially when he starts wearing the boots that go above the knees.
Oh yeah, real classy.
As good as it gets.
I did. I was kind of clicking through on the Wikipedia article because I didn't know who Dave Peterson was. Anyway, I think he's the one that died in the motorcycle wreck. Is what I read.
Oh, sad.
Yeah,
Oh God.
because I was like, I'd never heard of this guy. Maybe he has a different, name or whatever. But it was like, I think he died in a motorcycle wreck. I saw several of these guys not with us anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, this a lot of shows from this time period. If you look at where they are now, it's kind of depressing.
Yeah. Oh, made myself sad. Okay. So that was kind of meh. And then you get Jim Cornette and the Midnight Express versus Nelson Royal and Sam Houston. So,
Yeah, kind of the same.
just kind of even kind of more meh than the one before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's essentially just a squash match
Pretty
for
much,
the Midnight
yeah.
Express. Yeah. Now, Jennifer, had you seen the Midnight Express before?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I have. But boy, Sam Houston sure was a scrawny little thing, and it was like little guy and old guy. Wonder who's
Yes.
going to win this match.
Was Nelson Royal 100 years old?
At least.
He looked like everybody's grandfather.
I'm like, and the poor other guy. I mean, Sam Houston was just scrawny as shit, and it was just like kind of embarrassing. I felt bad for both of them, honestly, when it was over with.
Well, they did have a good showing though. They beat the Batten twins. So.
Oh, that's true. You're right.
So.
Credit where credit is due.
What wasn't all bad for Mr. Royal and Mr. Houston.
And then
Yeah.
it looked like some confusion after the match. Like it was hard to tell. Like you said, the way it's filmed, it's hard to like flow from one match to the next. It's kind of
it's a little disorienting. Because I don't know what match it was. It might have been this one, but it just kind of, the Midnight Express is kind of, or someone's walking out, and then the camera will freeze on kind of a crowd shot, but then you'll see Magnum TA walking out of the crowd, out of the darkness, and it's like, whoa.
What just happened?
Yeah. But again, it's almost like you're there live.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like you're watching it on the big screens almost.
Right, yeah.
And these crowds were just awesome. Like,
Yeah.
they had a few lulls, but it's just because the matches sucked. But like for the most part, they were on the ball. You could hear them. It was very, like you said, intimate. Just you could hear like individual people in the crowd yelling, which tickles me.
Yeah, well, I mean that's pretty impressive too for them being in a 70,000 seat arena that's mostly empty.
Right.
Like for them to capture that noise the way they did it's pretty impressive.
And I mean, such a long day of wrestling too.
My God.
I mean,
Yeah,
the cut on the network was like just over 4 hours long, but you're missing 5 or 6 matches.
right. Yeah,
And I mean, plus you tack on. I'm assuming there was a couple of intermissions. I would think.
yeah, you'd hope so, huh?
I mean, yeah. I mean, you're talking probably what between both shows, 5.5, 6 hours of wrestling probably.
At least,
Yeah.
I mean, for them to stay as hot as they were throughout the whole thing was.
And there's nothing to like distract you from it, like at a WrestleMania. There's like other shit going on, and you can sort of fill in the time, but not here. It's just you got to sit around and wait.
Yeah, they didn't even have a Flo Rida sketch on this show.
That's the one thing this show needed was Flo Rida.
Yeah. and what's it? Machine Gun Kelly? That's another one they use a lot.
WWE's favorite musician, Limp Bizkit.
Ah, yes.
Bizkit. All right, so the next match gets a little bit better. It's Rick Steiner again with Buzz Sawyer and Ronnie Garvin and Magnum TA looking lit as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Had you seen Magnum TA before?
I've seen him a couple of times, not a large amount of times. So it was still sort of like, wow.
Yeah.
And yeah.
The best look in wrestling.
I would agree
the
with
best.
that. Yeah.
Oh,
if we can get back to the mullet talk first.
Yeah, please.
That's true.
Please.
He had that curl going on.
I have a note here, and it says verbatim, Magnum TA has a mullet by which all future mullets should be measured. So,
That's a
on my
beautifully
notes.
eloquent note.
In writing. Bulleted, even. So.
But this is a good match, too. I really like this one. The crowd went nuts, like I said, for Ronnie and Magnum. So I know who the good guys were.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really like, I don't know, stiff, which all of them were. So it's kind of hard to use that to describe it. But it really was pretty, like, brutal.
Yeah. These are four, like, rough guys.
They're
you know?
rough, yeah. There's a great series of near falls, a little back and forth at one point. There's some hair pulling. There's some dirty fighting, which I do enjoy very much. But yeah, I like this one quite a bit more than the sort of duds that we had before.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah, only 5 minutes long too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you just have Ronnie Garvin running around, slapping everyone, chopping everyone. Magnum TA, throwing people in the ropes and giving them the big belly to belly and all that good stuff.
It was a crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. And then one of my most favorite parts happens. It's when Tony Schiavone comes to the ring and starts telling us the rules.
Your close personal friend Tony Schiavone, from what I understand.
Yes, we've met. In no way did money, be exchanged for that meeting. But yes, I paid to meet him and have a picture and have a video of it. Anyway, I adore him, and he's beautiful here, and he has a fun mustache. And then JR comes up, which he looked adorable as well. I do enjoy me some JR. And he read the rules and the matchups. They sang the anthem.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
So,
not the only sign of patriotism.
Yes.
This evening.
I wonder if this is where like the evening show started.
That's what I was wondering too.
Yeah, it seems like it, right?
Yeah.
And
it kind of, because for them to just do the national anthem like halfway through the show, it would be kind of weird.
Yeah.
But
and then the style changed as well here because they get the wide shots and
right.
It's not. I mean, you still get a lot of really good close camera work, but it definitely gets bigger in scope.
Yeah, it felt more like they were filming it for TV almost.
Right. Yeah. And I kind of thought that maybe we might start getting some commentary right there because JR and Tony, like, oh, come on, please talk to me, and then they didn't. But anyway.
So was there commentary on the highlight tape?
Yes, there was.
Oh.
It was Tony and I think it was Tony and David Crockett, but I'm not positive.
Okay.
I know Tony was on it.
So they probably did it in post then.
Yeah.
See, I need that now. I need to hear this now. I think it would help with my enjoyment on some of these, which I did enjoy.
You can watch the highlight, like the 2-hour highlight version is on, I think, like Daily Motion. You can just search for it. Yeah, it'll come up pretty easy.
Well, I will be doing that. And also, Bruce Pritchard is ring-announcing as well.
Yeah, young Bruce Pritchard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before he even had a thought of being Brother Love. Or maybe he did, I don't know.
You don't know what he thought?
I don't want to know what he thinks, quite frankly.
All right. The next one, you got Super Chief Wahoo McDaniel and Mark Youngblood versus the Road Warriors. Okay, so I had seen all of these guys before, and it looked like they were just trying to get Wahoo through the match without him, like, having a coronary in the ring. And it was just like, let's just get this old guy through this match, and let's beat up on Mark Youngblood a little bit.
And mission accomplished.
That's it. I mean, that's basically what they do. They, it's short. It's not terrible. I mean, it's all right.
It was fine, you know.
Yeah. You know what I did really like was at the end of the match, and I forget which Road Warrior, I think Hawk got the pin, and you know how what they'll do sometimes in a tag team match is, you know, the one guy is pinning someone, and the other team member will be like physically holding the other guy back. What they did in this one was Road Warrior Animal, I think it was. He didn't have to physically hold. I forget who pinned who, but
it was Hawk. Hawk pinned Youngblood.
Yeah.
Hawk pinned Youngblood. Yeah.
So Wahoo comes in and Animal just stares him down.
Yes.
Wahoo doesn't move.
That was a good moment.
So good.
I think he grinned at him too. It was pretty great.
Oh, awesome. The best. Besides the post match. Cup ceremony and check ceremony with the Widow Crockett. This was the best Road Warrior segment.
Okay, we'll see about that.
Yeah, okay. I might agree with you there, but we'll see.
All right. Now, here comes one of my moments of the nights right here. All right, so you got the backdrop of the Marlboro cigarette ads and the Budweiser ads in the background, which just stand out to me the whole rest of the night. It's
1986.
Yeah.
1986.
And then this guy with a tuxedo comes on, and he is screaming about Jimmy Valiant being a coward, and he's holding a braided piece of hair. And he said, "This is Jimmy Valiant's hair. A white Uncle Tom."
And a yellow dog.
Lord.
Jimmy Valiant is a coward and a dog, and that's all you fucking people are going to know. I was losing it. I was like, what is happening?
Now I went back after you had said that. I went back and listened. Does he say is it the F word or is it?
Oh, it's 100%.
It is.
Okay, so it's not funky.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, maybe, but I listened to it twice because I was like, I need to make sure. But
if it was funky, it didn't sound like that.
It sure did.
Yeah. Okay.
No. He left out a couple of consonants if he was going for funky.
And then he challenged Jimmy Valiant to come get his hair, and Shaska is waiting on you. I was just like, I don't know what is happening. I don't know who any of these people are, but this is delightful and wonderful, and this is why I watch wrestling. It was beautiful.
Oh, man.
Now, would you like some background on that?
Of course.
So this was in the middle of the famed Boogie Woogie Man Jimmy Valiant and number one Paul Jones feud that lasted a good 2, almost 3 years.
Oh my god!
Which revolved around Paul Jones, who's the manager that we see in the ring. Him at various times cutting off Jimmy Valiant's beard or hair, and Jimmy Valiant trying to get revenge on Paul Jones. Real top level stuff, if you ask me.
For sure.
Yeah, but it's actually I really enjoy it because it involves all these different, and Paul Jones is like the worst manager of all time. Like he's terrible, but it involves all these different characters. You have Shaska Whatley, who he used to be Pez Whatley, and he was teaming with Jimmy Valiant, and Jimmy Valiant cuts a promo and he says, Pez Whatley, he's the best black wrestler in the NWA or something like that. And, Pez gets mad and says, hey, well, why, which is, of course, perfectly justifiable here. It's like, well, hey, why are you saying I'm the best black wrestler? Why does that matter? I'm just the best wrestler, And so he turns on him and becomes Shaska Whatley, and then cuts his hair at one point. But the feud ends when Jimmy Valiant, he puts up Big Mama's hair at Starrcade 86, and he doesn't have to shave Big Mama's hair, fortunately.
They got Martin Lawrence in drag for that? My God.
That prop that he was holding that was supposed to be Jimmy's hair, it looked like somebody had ripped a ponytail off a random bitch in the crowd. It looked like it had blood and scalp hanging to it. Where did he get this?
It might have been Jimmy Valiant's hair, because he did. Jimmy Valiant did have long hair, and he cut it, and that was the piece that he held, for weeks and weeks on TV. So I don't know. It actually never occurred to me that it actually might not be Jimmy Valiant's actual hair.
You're like, of course it is.
Yeah, it's still real to me.
But see, then we get this weird cut, so I don't know what happens at this point. And the next thing that you see is just a bunch of confusion. Yeah. And Jimmy's already in the ring with Manny, and then the Koloffs come out. And there were some chairs around, so I don't know. I don't know if they had a scuffle with old dude or not, but I really wanted to see that part. It was really sad. And then Jimmy's just in the ring with Manny, and they're going to have a fight with Ivan and Nikita Koloff.
Yeah, so I don't know. Maybe there was a little bit of damaged tape there or something. I'm not sure what happened. But I sure wish we could have seen that that full segment. Had you guys seen Jimmy Valiant before?
I had.
Yeah.
It would be hard to not remember those pants.
Yeah,
sure.
Straight from the Beetlejuice collection. Jimmy Valiant looks like the old man you see at a Grateful Dead show selling tuna fish sandwiches out of the back of his old van.
What?
Now, I know that's a deep cut.
Yeah.
But
that's oddly specific.
Now, do you have personal experience with a person like that?
No, but I've heard stories.
Okay.
I do not want to be roped in with deadheads, number one. I won't stand for it.
Okay. My Spanish 1 teacher in high school was a deadhead.
Oh, God.
Yeah. She used to call me Senior Weasel Nose.
Wow.
Welp, I'm calling you that from now on.
Yeah. I think we found your new chat name.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's happening.
And I would walk in, I'd be talking in class or something, and she'd go, Senior Weasel Nose, I'm going to chop off your fingies.
Good Lord, where did you go to school?
I don't know, a very small town in the middle of California.
Your teacher was high as fuck.
Yeah, you have to be to enjoy the Grateful Dead.
And she used to pick ticks off of her in class and then stab them with pins.
Ew.
And we watched the movie E.T. in Spanish three times during the year.
Just because she was hungover.
Yeah.
Was it the Spanish E.T.? Was it the Spanish version at least?
Yeah, so he would say teléfono casa.
Oh my God.
I can see you're fluent in Spanish.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more Spanish than I know.
I mean, how could I not be fluent with that kind of education?
I don't know. Wow, I wasn't expecting that. That was great.
Anyways.
So, Jimmy Valiant.
Yeah.
He sucks. I'll just say it.
Yes.
Does anybody like him? Am I an outlier in this camp?
I love Jimmy Valiant.
Oh, come on. Why?
Did you hear that he got the biggest pop of the night when he got his hot tag when he came in the ring? Did you guys hear that? I mean, it like went nuts for Jimmy Valiant.
I don't know if I'd call it the biggest pop of the night.
No, maybe that's me kind of projecting.
It might be a little bit.
I don't know. I thought it was the biggest pop of the night. I love him. I love his promos. I love that he dances throughout the entire match. I love that he essentially just hits a couple punches and a big elbow drop, and that's it. And that's all he has to do. And everyone loves him.
My note says Jimmy is gross.
Oh.
Yes, and I had a note that said, "Was Jimmy Valiant ever good?" So.
Oh yeah. What do you mean ever? He's still good to this day.
Is he still alive?
He is, and you know what? He is still alive, and he has a tattoo of a headband on his head and tattooed wrestling boots on his feet.
Oh my! All right.
Oh.
But
wow. That is cool. I will admit.
Good decisions. Good decisions.
Yeah, no, he's awesome. I love him. He's like, but he can just dance, and it's like. People love him, you know. People in the South, like he's a beloved character of Southern wrestling, and it's like it's so exciting to see him, you know, just do his shtick and just people go crazy for it.
Well, either they love Jimmy or they hate the Koloffs, which I think is probably more accurate. So, like in comparison, it seems like they love him a lot when really they just hate the Russians.
Oh no! Oh. When you see the Techwood Studios, all 80 people in there on their feet dancing with the Boogie Woogie Man, dancing for Man from New York City.
There was a gas leak in the building.
No.
It means they're all deadheads.
Ugh. They're all street people. Street people USA, baby.
Is that like Badge? Is that next to Badge Street? Or?
Yeah, it's the street over in Atlanta. Yeah.
Well, the match itself, it just wasn't kind of meh for me, and it like kind of broke down into a like incomprehensible brawl. Like sometimes matches like later on, you'll see one that kind of devolves, but it's better. This one was just. Kind of a little bit more than okay.
Yeah, we'll see some better examples later on in the night, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so then Bruce Pritchard comes out and says that Dino Bravo is in the hospital. What did he say? Appendicitis? I can't remember. Sounded like bullshit. And he says that Terry Taylor and Steve Williams move on in the tournament.
This is my one big disappointment of the show because I was really hoping we'd get to see Rick Martel.
You really wanted to see
show.
Dino Bravo.
Well, who am I
That's not
kidding?
a sentence that's ever been uttered.
Was it true? Do you think it's true, or was he just?
I have no idea.
Yeah,
Maybe
no.
Dino Bravo was, you know, he had some issues with some businessmen that he couldn't get out of.
More likely.
Yeah. Gotta sell those cigarettes.
Yeah.
So that's like one sort of like shady move of the night, and there's a couple of other shady moves that I do not enjoy when it comes to like, you know, disqualifications and things like that. So next we have the Sheep Herders versus the Rock and Roll Express, which I do know these guys, and I know the Sheep Herders, but in a different form. And the Rock and Roll Express is over.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Boy, they are.
People love them more than Jimmy Valiant, I think.
I was going to say,
probably.
they're almost as over as the Boogie Woogie Man, Jimmy Valiant.
Pretty sure their pop's a little bit bigger. And then there's fuckery in this, in the end, which to me was the only like real like highlight of the match.
Yeah, this was an okay kind of brawl. You got to see the Rock and Roll Express in like a rougher match, which you don't get to see often.
Mm-hmm.
The sheep herders, of course. For anyone listening who might not know, that's I can't even think of their names now in WWF.
Bushwhackers.
Bushwhackers. So that's the Bushwhackers, before they were the Bushwhackers. But not too much of a match, but it was cool to see the Rock and Roll Express kind of working like a rougher style than they usually do, which I like that.
Yeah, this felt like a way to get the Rock and Roll Express on the card, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. But I was kind of surprised they were eliminated this early.
Me too.
Yeah, I mean, they were like red hot, and
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on paper, you see this matchup, and you're like, whoa,
right?
What a match!
Exactly.
Yeah, so a little bit disappointing in that regard.
But I mean, knowing what would come later because of this match, I'm kind of okay with it.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, exactly.
So they get Ricky gets disqualified for hitting them with the flag that they carried. So it's not even their flag; it's the other guy's flag.
It's Jack Victory's flag.
Yeah, Jack Victory's flag. So that was kind of like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and that was Earl Hebner as the referee, I think.
Was it?
He was on this show. I forget if he was on this
popped up
match
a
or
couple
not.
times.
Yeah, with a full head of hair.
Maybe that's why I didn't recognize him.
Yeah.
This is why I need commentary. And then the crowd chants bullshit after the match. They really did not like that at all.
Yeah, of course they did.
I like a good bullshit chant. Livens things
Of course.
up. All right, so this next one is with my new favorite tag team, the Fantastics, with, oh my God, Tully Blanchard, and oh my God, Arn Anderson.
Good old Uncle Arn.
Daddy Arn, you mean? And
yes, that's what I meant.
That's what you meant. And
We'll just edit. That won't help.
So I loved their first match so much. When I figured out that they were going against Arn and Tully, I was like, oh my God. And so I got super hyped for this one. And oh my God, so good.
Oh yeah.
Incredible.
God, so good.
Yep.
It's just, I couldn't even write anything. It was just like, God, I love Arn. Arn's awesome. Oh my God, the Fantastics are good. Those are all my notes. It's gibberish. It's nonsense.
It's awesome because, this is like, on paper it's a great, it's like an incredible lineup, but, it's in the middle, this match is in the middle of so much other stuff, but it just shows like what true great professional wrestlers all four of these guys are. It's like, it's a textbook of that Southern, tag style wrestling. Like you have, down to the T, you've got like the babyface shine at the beginning, the heat segment, the hot tag, the comeback, the finish, all that. It's just this perfect little, 12-minute example of that. And there's a lot of little things too. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed, like, there's kind of a lot of stalling and stuff at the beginning.
Yes.
So you had,
Yes.
Bobby Fulton and Arn were in there. And Bobby, they kept trying to sucker Bobby Fulton over to their corner. And he was just slowly positioning himself away from their corner because, he knew he was going to get caught and they were going to gang up on him. So he'll say, like, yeah, no, you can hear him yelling, like, no, I'm not going over there. Like, come on, come to the middle of the ring. Like, let's wrestle. But you can see him just doing this little footwork and these little movements to position himself away from their side of the ring and like shift back to the middle and like all throughout the match. So, Bobby Fulton, he's like the Ricky Morton of the Fantastic. So he usually takes like the heat segment. And Arn and Tully were doing all these rough little ways to keep him, from getting a tag. Like Arn would hold on to him with his feet. Like he would hold on to Bobby's feet with his feet at one point, and then he just kind of would like barrel into him another time, and just all this cool little stuff. Like, and again, it's you kind of realize the scope of this show and how great it really is when this is just kind of a middle of the card. I know it's a tournament, but in the scope of things, it's just in the middle of the card and kind of forgotten about compared to some of the other stuff on here.
Totally agree. Like, there's nothing better than watching Arn Anderson do what he does. Like, once he gets tired, like you said, they kind of did that stalling in the little beginning part. And then once he gets done with that, he's done with that. And then he just says, fuck it, and just goes to a next level. And then he just takes these bumps that are just so good. He knows how to sell it. He does so well.
Yeah. He's incredible. He's probably one of my favorites in the NWA of the stuff that I've seen. He does everything so, well. He makes everything look good. It's perfect selling,
And you believe it. Like, I just believe it.
Yep.
It never feels fake with him.
No.
Yeah, and he's not like a technical wrestler, but he does technical moves.
Right.
And he's not a brawler necessarily, but he can brawl and he's rough and he's like a perfect professional wrestler. Maybe not like the superstar that Ric Flair is, of course, but he's perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's no holes in him as a wrestler.
It just feels like effortless to him. Like,
yeah.
In no way does it feel like he has to work for it. It's just what he does. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's so wonderful to watch.
Awesome. Yeah. This is like a great match. I mean, I think so far, both the Fantastics matches are the real standouts.
Oh,
like
my
that's
God,
yeah.
Like if you're gonna kind of pick and choose from the match or from the show, I mean, the Fantastics matches are the ones to do it that way.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Yeah. This was my this was my second favorite match of the night, probably.
Yeah.
If I had to put a star rating on it, I'd probably go like around 4, something like that.
I did 4.25.
Yeah. I'd be right around there, probably. This is just awesome tag wrestling.
And it looks like the Wrestling Observer also gave it 4.25 stars.
Oh, look at there.
There you go.
Amazing. All right, so the last one that we'll talk about before we have a quick break is, oh my God, all right. It's Black Bart again with Jimmy Garvin and Precious, with Giant Baba and Tiger Mask. Both of these fellas aptly named. Giant Baba looks very, very unsettling to me. He's like, it hurt my eyes to look at this guy. Like, he looks like something really offensive just came to my brain, but I won't say that. But like, he's literally huge, but also very skinny, and
yes, but with a very wide torso.
Chest, yeah, his chest is massive. But then he's got these skinny arms and legs. So it's just very improportionate and just,
very weird looking person.
Yes. And I don't know nothing about this gentleman. I'm sure he's a great person or was. I don't know if he's still alive, but it was hard to watch.
I think he passed. He died, like 20 years ago, I think?
2000 he died.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But it was clear.
So can I tell you?
No, go ahead. Tell me.
Oh, well, I don't want to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
So as we are recording this, I am looking at a stuffed figure of Giant Baba that I have sitting on my bookshelf.
Oh my God! Why?
He is. I mean, no joke. One of my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time.
Really?
I mean, I love him.
How have I managed to shit on 2 of your most favorite wrestlers in this podcast?
I don't know. But I mean, I do have a lot of thoughts about this match and about Giant Baba in this match.
Yes, please.
So like I said, he's one of my very, very favorite wrestlers. You don't really know anything about him, correct?
Not a thing. So
he was the owner of All Japan Pro Wrestling, the owner and the booker. He founded the company in 1972. He wrestled in JWA before that, and then they split off. Him and Inoki both split off and formed their own companies. But he, at the time, there's a lot of footage of him all throughout his career. So starting in the 1960s, when he's having these hour-long draws with, there's a real famous one with like the Destroyer. There's matches with Fritz von Erich and, just all these different people. And he's mat wrestling. So imagine him, the guy you saw in the ring, wrestling on the mat and, working these holds and stuff. And it's incredible just because he's so bizarre looking,
Yeah.
But he's, he has a surprising amount of athleticism to him when he's younger, and he's able to put someone in a leg scissors, and the people all buy it because he's so big and everything, and he makes everything look good compared to his size and all that. So there's like I said with Jimmy Valiant, he does so much with so little. It's a little bit the same way with Baba, where he's limited. He can't run very fast, or he's not the most athletic person in the world. But he makes everything really work for him, and he has awesome matches, up through 1998. But it's taking him out of I was talking to a friend of mine about this actually a lot too, but in Japan, where he's built up all this credibility and all this goodwill with his fans, and he was a true cultural icon in Japan. So you have him doing again these same terrible looking chops and trying to run the ropes and all that in the mid 80s, but he's against Stan Hansen, who is a legend in Japan as well, and Hansen was able to take these huge bumps for him and make Giant Baba look so good, and you have this credibility that's been built up over decades, where Baba does a terrible looking overhand chop, but because everyone that's seen him knows what he used to be and knows what those chops mean, it looks great. And the people that he's working with know how to make it look good too, and so it's accepted. He's accepted as this great, legitimate, threatening wrestler. And then you take him out of that entire context and you drop him in New Orleans, Louisiana, in a Southern tag tournament, and it's just the most alien thing in the world. I mean, him, you have him and Tiger Mask look just completely from another planet.
Yeah, for sure.
In that ring, it's so bizarre and wonderful to see. And I don't know if do you guys know who Tiger Mask is?
No.
Yeah, I do. I know of it. Which was this Misawa? This Tiger Mask?
Yeah. So this was Misawa. So Jennifer, have you heard of a Japanese wrestler, Misawa, before?
I don't think so.
So he's a wrestler. He eventually took his mask off a few years later and became, in a lot of people's opinions, the greatest wrestler of all time ever.
Wow. So
you have him in this match again. It's just so weird, going against Jimmy Garvin.
Yeah.
and he's doing cartwheels in the ring and stuff.
Yeah.
Just what an utterly bizarre circumstance this match is. I love it for that, just the sheer insanity of it.
It looked like Jimmy and Bart were sort of taking it easy on him, Yeah. Working hard for him, which was sweet. I don't know if sweet's the right word, but that's how I felt about it.
They're very, very, very nice to him.
Because it looks respectful is probably a more accurate word.
Yeah.
But I could feel it, in the match. Obviously, if they were if this were a real fight, they would not be losing, to this team.
They just break one of his skinny little arms.
Yeah, because literally it just looked like they could do that. And then I was shocked when he got the pin. I was like, what? What just happened?
With a pretty rough looking boot.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Of all things.
A boot to the lower stomach.
Yeah. I was like, wait, what? Not that I was not happy to see Jimmy Garvin go, but I mean, I was. But I can't imagine this match for you with these two guys in it, and wow. That's weird.
Yeah, I loved it. And again, it's like him, Tiger Mask is doing this stuff that the people have probably never seen before.
Right,
Like he
he
does that
great.
baseball slide. And
Yeah.
They didn't really know how to react to it.
Yeah,
they were kind of like, holy, what the hell is going on here,
Yeah, I mean, could you imagine being in that crowd and, you don't know. You're not seeing tapes from Japan or whatever. You're just in the crowd and these two characters walk out.
Yeah. And then they win.
Incredible. And then they win.
And then they win.
You're like, what?
What?
And Black Bart was a champion, right? At this point, didn't he have a?
Yeah,
he was
I believe so.
He had some belt. I don't know which one it was.
Yeah. So around this time on the syndicated shows, him and Sam Houston were feuding for like the Heritage States title or the Western States title, some like real bootleg mid-card title,
Main event in any VFW hall in the country.
So I'm glad I got my giant bobber rant, and thank you guys for indulging me.
That's what we're here for. All right, so before we get to the quarterfinals, I'm going to take a little break, and we will see you in just a second.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
Place to Be Nations, JT Rosero and Chad Campbell here. We want to let you know that we have over 24 podcasts available on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and PlaceToBeNation.com. We now offer them to you on 2 great feeds. On the Place to Be Nation Wrestling feed, we dive into topics running the gamut from today's WWE to the glory days of yesteryear and the ins and outs of the territory days. In addition to our full-length shows, we also deliver to you special pod blasts on topics old and new.
The Place to Be Nation Pop feed is a veritable treasure trove of great content. Offered tremendous shows covering the land of movies, television, life, comics, and sports, brought to you by the most knowledgeable and insightful folks in the podcast world.
You can find all these great shows, plus archives of our past podcasts from over the past 8 years as well by subscribing to both feeds on iTunes. And while you're there, be sure to rate and leave feedback as well. All of these shows, plus others, available on PlaceToBeNation.com, where we cover pro wrestling, sports, movies, comics, plus in-depth search projects, and much more. Be sure to support our site by using www.PlaceToBeNation.com/Amazon when doing your online shopping. We want to thank our friends at Boneheads Wing Bar, ProWrestlingOnly.com, and TheHistoryOfWrestling.com as well. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. PlaceToBeNation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Hi, welcome back to the network special talking about Crockett Cup 1986. And before we get to the quarterfinals, I wanted to tell you guys about what we've got going on Place to Be Nation and our various feeds. On the Pop feed, we have the newest Marvel Age. The Sarcastic Four dive into 1971 with the first 3 parts covering the year. 3 parts, good lord. The 8th episode of Laugh-In Theater has Andy welcoming hard-traveling fanboy Greg Phillips to watch one of the funniest movies of all time, Austin Powers, International Man of Mystery. Hard-traveling fanboy Greg Phillips continues X-Men Month with Nick Duke with a review of the infamous X-Men The Last Stand. Is it better than Dark Phoenix? Is it really as bad as you remember? Maybe you'll just have to listen. Spoiler, it is. DC For You, the newest weekly comic show on the Pop feed, brings its first monthly look at the current state of DC Comics, including Vertigo's retirement, the return of the Legion of Superheroes, and the JSA, as well as what Todd and Russell are currently reading. So check that one out. I had a new episode of Freak Out Drive-In with my first returning guest, Scott Criscolo, to watch the 2016 horror clown movie Terrifier. Yeah. Listen to that and watch that movie if you want to see some great kills and a creepy-ass clown. On a new episode of NBA Team, Adam Murray and Andrew Reich are here to reflect on what has been quite the last week in NBA land in the last month and 6 months and 16 years that basketball season has been going. And then on a brand new PTBN Pop special, Andy Atherton, Scott Criscolo, Jay Arsenio, Diamato, and Todd Weber get together to discuss our greatest song of the 80s tournament, which just started back up this week, I think. The reboot of that tournament started, so there are 6 polls a day listed for round 1. You just go to our Facebook page, Greatest Song of the 80s Tournament, and then you'll see the polls every day and vote for your favorites on there. On the wrestling feed, on the Place to Be podcast, Justin, Scott, and Steve Bennett are back inside the home office for a dive into the 9/30/89 Madison Square Garden house show. And then after a 6-month hiatus, Steve Bennett and Peter Winston reunite to discuss their 10 favorite single-season sports teams of all time on the Adams Division podcast. And the 9th episode of Row 1, Seat 1, Ben welcomes Action Wrestling Champion AC Mack to the podcast. Our PlaceToBeNation.com tribute to 1994 is off and running with pieces on the Best Picture nominees for the Academy Awards that year, and also for the World Cup, and also for the miniseries The Stand, which is really good and an excellent book as well. Speaking of which, the excellent Network Adventure team is back with a look at ECW One Night Stand 2006. You can check out our social media pages and message boards at bigelow34.proboards.com for information on joining our GWWE pay-per-view and TV match ever project. And then you can get in on the conversation and start researching your list. So, with all that being said, we are going to head back to the Crockett Cup in 1986 to the quarterfinals with a pair of matches that had me feeling certain kinds of ways. The first one, well, actually there were 3, but this first one was kind of meh. Road Warriors versus Midnight Express. Okay. I don't know. This was like, it should have been better. What did y'all think?
Yeah, this was really disappointing.
It was super disappointing.
Worst match on the show, I would say.
You think so?
I think so. I think the dynamic was just too off. Like a big powerhouse face team versus a heel team that is really strong and can't really look weak, so it just, I don't know. People say like, oh, they don't have good chemistry, and I don't really know what that means, but I don't know.
It feels this way.
Yeah, and it was real short too. Was it just 3 minutes or something like that? Or I don't know.
And it was a really bad, weak DQ finish.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that you want to protect the tag champs and everything, but
yeah, it was they were in a tough spot, I guess. But,
yeah.
My notes say lots of fuckery to start this. Lots of stalling, walking around. Corny is just hanging around, which, I mean, like, why not use him to better effect? I don't know. But it's too much bullshit, and then you get the DQ. It was kind of meh. But, luckily, the next one will piss me off even more. I don't know how y'all feel about these, but I have strong feelings about these. Okay. Ivan and Nikita Koloff are back with Terry Taylor, Red Rooster, and Steve Williams. So I'm not used to liking Terry Taylor in any way. So this was actually a pleasant surprise on his end. Same thing with Steve Williams, really.
Yeah.
You can only go up from being a, dyed red-haired clucking goof. I mean, you can only go up from there.
Well, doesn't he go down to there?
True, I misspoke.
But I was like, wow, I mean, you were doing this over here, and then you went and had a tampon on your head? Because I liked him, It was...
Yeah, he's really good in Mid-South. There's a lot of good stuff with his... and a lot of big matches with Ric Flair and stuff that are real good.
Mm-hmm. So it was like the ring. I noticed the sounds a lot in this one match. You could hear them kind of shit talking, or they would talk to the ref, and you could hear clearly what they were saying a lot of times, and talking to each other. And then you got a lot of crowd noise in this one too. So it just felt like very oral.
Careful with the spelling there.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, but at the end, it's a fucking time limit draw, which is the worst thing that has ever happened ever in the history of sports.
No, why do you not like time limit draws?
I just don't. I just think it's.
So I've heard you on the Place to Be pod say that as well, that you would get really mad at a time limit draw.
I do. I just feel like it's pointless. Like, what was the point of any of this? And like, and you're in a tournament, so like, it just seems not smart to me. Am I missing it? What's wrong with me?
Well, I mean, I think in this case it gives the show a different feel. It kind of puts over like the idea that two teams are equally matched, that they're both real athletic, and it's like a creative way of giving two teams out of the running, rather than doing like another double DQ or something like that. So, and then like it also, not in this case, but like a time limit draw in general, it could give fuel to like another feud, or to help progress a feud, like to another match or something, to where these two guys, they've gone, they've had this time limit draw, so they're equally matched, so what's going to happen now they have to have a cage match or a no time limit, no DQ match, or something like that.
I guess it's just coming off of like Giant Baba's inexplicable pin and win, and then the stupid match before. I'm just like, really? Like, these two teams are like legit awesome. I enjoyed the match like a lot up until that point, and then I just felt like it got ruined because now you're both fucked.
What do you think of this, Matt?
I mean, I don't mind a time limit draw if it's done relatively well. I'm torn on this, really. I went like 2 3/4 on this.
See, I had it at a 4, and then I brought that bitch down to 2. I'm like, nope. Nope. You killed it. What was the 4 before that?
I could, when they got around like the 10-minute mark, just because they called it out, so I wrote it down, but it kind of felt like they never really got out of another gear.
Yep.
And it almost felt like a draw was coming. You could kind of see it. At least that's what I got out of it. But, I mean, it was a fine match. But I found it weird that, just jumping ahead, there's no semifinal matches on this show.
I wondered that too.
Like, was there a curfew in Louisiana?
There should be, always.
Well.
I was confused. Brackets aren't really my wheelhouse anyway, so I was like, maybe I'm just missing it here, but this...
No, it's
very weirdly done.
Yeah.
I didn't even realize that.
Almost, to me, it felt like they didn't have time for semifinal matches.
Yeah. It could have been, yeah.
The show was so long at this point.
Yeah,
you're talking, a 6-hour wrestling show, So I almost wonder if, they cut semifinals for time, because, the draw here and then the next match, obviously. But
right, yeah, huh? I have no idea. That's a good question.
Yeah.
Steve Williams gets choked with a chain after the bell rings for 8,000 times. I really
I like the post-match
all of that.
a lot. Yeah, I did too. It was really good.
Yeah, with Eddie Gilbert. Now, someone else who did not like this match was the man who, unless I missed something, was inexplicably sitting right at ringside wearing a trucker hat and mirrored shades. and was there only for that match. Did you guys notice him or not?
No.
And he was nonplussed the entire time. He just sat there stone-faced with his arms crossed.
Was it Dave Meltzer?
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I thought it was Eddie Gilbert at first, but I don't think it was him. So I don't know who it was, but he was on like the inside of the railing, just sitting there in a chair.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
I don't know. I don't know who that was, but yeah, not a fan of that match either. I thought this was awesome. I really liked this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like time limit draws. I don't know. I just don't have a problem with them. I don't know why not. But
well, I just like to finish, is what I'm saying.
Sure.
You know, I think everybody deserves to finish.
Well, there you go. But yeah, I don't know. I don't mind a time limit draw. But I liked. I'm not really a big Steve Williams fan. Like a lot of times. Man, especially in WCW in the early 90s, like he's really boring. And he's got a cool look, and his name is Dr. Death, and he's a tough guy, so you think it's going to be like a great match, and he just sits in a headlock the whole time. And not even a cool headlock, but like this, you know, is so he was like doing a bunch of headbutts to Ivan Koloff's arm, and you know, doing like the big power spots too. So he was really good here, and I've seen him a little bit in Mid-South, and he's pretty good there too. But I don't know, I was really impressed with him here. One of the things, like kind of a hallmark of the Russians, is that Ivan Koloff, you know, you usually do like in the Southern Tag match, it's usually the heels that, you know, they get the heat on the baby face. But a lot of like the Russians in like every match of theirs, Ivan Koloff, you know, gets like a bunch of heat on him.
He got his ass kicked.
Yeah, which is all. It's a cool. I like Ivan Koloff selling. Like he drops his shoulders and kind of stumbles around, which I really like. And I think he's really good at it. You know, so
I mean, they destroyed his arm for like a good 10, it was like a good 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Before Nikita really even got in the match.
Yeah. And you know, I like Nikita a lot too.
What I've seen of him, I really like.
Yeah, and so it was cool. Like you had, like I said, I probably what I was most impressed with was just Steve Williams. Like how much I liked him in this match, and that probably makes me like the match more than you know, because I didn't expect that going in. Because I thought, boy, this could be pretty bad. Because I think the Russians are a really good team, but they kind of need like someone like the Rock and Roll Express to work with, where it's more of like a fast-paced team that they can play off of. And I was thinking, man, this could be pretty dull, but it wasn't. And so I think I was more surprised by it than anything.
I was surprised as well by the ending. And liking Terry Taylor.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean,
so this next match I have lots of thoughts about as well.
Oh boy, so do I.
I think we all do.
So at this point, I was pretty much like, where are the Fantastics? They're all that I want to see. I don't care about any of these other matches. I was just all about the Fantastics at this point. And then, so you get them versus the Sheep Herders, who I enjoyed in the previous match. And it's just like, I started looking up photos of them so I could tell them apart, which I knew I was really invested at that point. And they just, I'm trying to think of a word. The Fantastics are just like sassy. They lead the American pledge. They're just like totally getting the crowd on their side, which doesn't take much really, considering the other team of foreigners, so they're always bad. And the crowd hates the Sheep Herders a lot.
From the evil America-hating country of New Zealand.
Yeah.
Which, if anyone knows, we have a deep, passionate, just war-torn history with New Zealand.
Yeah.
It's so odd.
Australia Light, as I like to call them.
Yeah.
Sure.
So once Bobby starts bleeding, the match picks up. Because, like, at first it's, like, just some bullshit. And then the blood starts. And then it's just more and more blood and awesomeness.
And it just explodes.
It does.
Yeah,
It's just,
and it does not stop. It just keeps going.
the ref worked his ass off in this match, too. The camera guy gets hit at one point. The ref falls on the outside. It's chaos.
Yeah, everyone's bleeding. Jack
yeah.
Victory is even bleeding.
Everybody's bleeding. There's great hot tags in there. One of my notes says Bobby is dead because he just falls out.
Yeah.
And then another note says, I love the blood in this. It just keeps going. I don't know. It was so great. And then somebody gets a flagpole. Tommy does from the Fantastics and starts hitting sheep herders with that. And the bell rings, and then both teams are DQ'd.
Right.
I'm like, wait, what?
Now, did that bother you, or did it kind of work in
because
the
the
sense
Fantastics
that, like,
were DQ'd, and I wanted them to win $1 million. I would pay them $1 million.
I mean, that would have really been fantastic.
Yes.
Yes. Did it work? Like, can you kind of see, like, they're in, because they've been in a feud with the sheep herders. They were feuding around this time in UWF. So, like, they're in this crazy brawl, and just the match is out of control, and the ref gets bumped. And I think that's why the ref called the double DQ, was because he was bumped and all that stuff.
That's kind of what it looked like to me, too, was the ref bump.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they were doing all kinds of other shit in it, too. And, you touch the ref, got to stop the match.
Right.
Which one of them actually bumped the ref, though?
I can't remember.
I know it was Tommy with the flagpole, because I made a note of that, and I remember it.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the sheep herders.
Must have been.
But honestly, I can't remember.
Or did they both throw the ref out?
Oh, did they?
And why it was no contest? Because they both one guy from each team threw him out?
You know what? Yes.
Okay,
I believe that's it. Yeah, and I can't remember the specifics beyond that, but yeah, you're right. I had forgotten that.
Yeah.
I was because he takes a bump. The ref gets bumped, but then they throw him out after that, after he recovers or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So and then there's like another ref there checking on him, and it's just whole ordeal. It's awesome.
Yeah. This was wild stuff for I have no words.
Yeah.
Just unbelievable.
I mean, do you guys think this, because this is the match that had all the huge hype and reputation, do you think it lived up to that?
I mean, I didn't go 5 on it. I went 4.5.
Sure.
But, I mean, it's damn close,
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think, Jennifer? Well, I mean, you really didn't like the finish, so.
Yeah, see, that's what,
That's what dropped it for me, too, was the finish.
I love the blood. See, the blood adds so much. I just adore the blood in any match, no matter what. And so, because that opener was still stuck in my head, right? The whole time I'm watching the show, I'm like, I'm going to go back and watch that opener again because I fucking love that match. And then this happened, and I was like, but this was awesome, but DQ'd. So it kind of just, it was frustrating. But such a great match, though.
Yeah, I mean,
just an awesome brawl.
Yeah, I loved it. I liked the finish, because I liked the idea of it just being this total out of control thing, and that no one even cares about the tournament anymore. They just want to fight each other and hurt each other.
Right. Yep.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. Watching the Fantastics match and kind of their story arc over the course of this tournament is really, really cool. And it kind of like each match. I mean, I really like that first match too, but I think the second one I like a little better. So you see them progress and just having these better and better matches, and then at the end, it just explodes. Like it's a fairly kind of standard, like Southern tag match at first, and then Bobby Fulton starts bleeding, and it erupts into this mad chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it's like, and the crowd's going nuts, and it's like, oh man, it's awesome. I don't know if I've really seen a match that escalates that much that quickly. You know what I mean? It just going from perfectly good, solid wrestling to just, this nuclear bomb just goes off and everyone's bleeding. As soon as like Jack Victory started bleeding too, it's like that's when it's just totally over the top. Like just everyone involved. I really wish the ref had cut himself too and was bleeding. But and then the cameraman gets hit, and it's like, what is going on? There's this flag going everywhere. There's a flagpole. They're seeing the national anthem at the beginning. Everything like all coming together. It's a pretty incredible package.
And this is the third match that you've seen from them. So I'm like, how do they still have this? How are they still at this level? It's amazing.
Yeah. So they're, the Fantastics, they're looked at as kind of like the third tag team of the 80s behind, Rock and Roll Express, Midnight Express. Right. Those are the two main teams of the 80s. But the Fantastics, they don't get a lot of the hype and the credit that those two teams do. But I don't know. The Fantastics, like, they're very, very good. And I've seen a lot of them because they feuded with the Midnight Express in Mid-South and in World Class and in Crockett in '88, which that's probably like the stuff that you've seen, Matt.
Yep, that's what I've seen. I've seen that stuff.
Yeah, so it's like, and those matches are like just as good.
They're great. They're great.
Yeah, they're incredible. They're just as good as the Rock and Roll Express matches, Yeah. But they don't quite get the credit. So, and I think it's a pretty easy, choice between like what team or what guys looked the best on the whole show. Mm-hmm. It was the Fantastics, right?
Sure.
Like hands down.
Easily.
Yes.
Easily.
It made me want to just track down all of their matches, like right now. I just want to watch them from now on until I've seen everything that they have.
Yeah,
there's a pretty good amount on the network, I think.
I will be looking that up.
Like if you if you look at like the Clash of the Champions and some of like the late '80s pay-per-views, they're on some of those, I think.
Yeah, there's also a couple comps on YouTube. I'll send you the links to them.
Oh, yes, please.
It's like a Best of Midnight Express. It's like a huge 10-part series or something. But a lot of that stuff is with the Fantastics. A lot of that earlier stuff. So it's like 20-something matches against the Fantastics. So it's great, and it's across a couple different promotions too.
So all these years later, they still just made a fan today in this random 30-something-year-old chick. So that's, hey, And
I'll also send you a link to a very excellent little music video they did where it shows them swimming and tanning and driving in a car.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Do they have any porn from that era in which they were featured?
Well, heavens, they might. Maybe
that'll
I haven't
make it
seen
to the
it,
network.
so hidden gem. Yeah.
All right, since I've made it weird, let's go to Tiger Mask and Giant Baba again versus Ronnie Garvin and Magnum TA. Yeah, okay. The crowd was spent at this point. They had pretty much nothing to give to this. They already are just put off by Giant Baba, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Tiger Mask does throw Magnum around pretty good. He got my attention a lot more in this match than the previous one. It's kind of like maybe it's the mask, but sort of like a Rey Mysterio thing. Even though he wasn't like super flyy, he was just very quick.
It was quick, yeah.
Especially compared to Giant Baba. It picks up a little bit kind of towards the end. I like Magnum and Tiger Mask. I like all of their little sequences, and I thought they looked the best. But then Magnum pins Tiger Mask for the win, which I enjoyed that finish. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was cool. Ronnie Garvin slapping the chest of Giant Baba.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yep.
Where in the world would we, I can't believe that we get to see that. And I can only hope that WWE Network puts up the 87 Crockett Cup, because there's Giant Baba is teaming with, I forget, it's not Tiger Mask, it's someone else, but there's a match, it's Baba and whoever his partner is against Lex Luger.
Oh my God.
And who I think it's like I think it's Tully Blanchard.
Good Lord.
Is that who his partner is? Yeah, I think it's it's Tully. Yeah. So you get to see Lex Luger and Giant Baba wrestle together.
Is
My
Lex
God.
Luger one of your top 5 wrestlers as well?
Absolutely, he is.
Oh my gosh.
No joke. No joke, he is.
Oh boy.
Why do you love all the things that I hate?
I don't know.
Sorry.
Jimmy Valiant, Lex Luger.
Yeah, let's see. So,
Baba.
well, no,
let me
Jimmy
guess.
Valiant.
The Rock is another one of your favorites.
Hey, what's wrong with The Rock?
Unfortunately
What is
not.
wrong with The Rock?
No, I'm the only one who hates him.
That's where I draw the line.
Yeah. I could never get away with that. What did you think of this one,
You
Matt?
could never smell what he was cooking.
No, never. What did you think of this one, Matt?
So this was pretty disappointing
Yeah.
for me. Like, I saw this match on paper and I thought, could be pretty interesting, but just very underwhelming. Never really got out of first gear. Like, except for maybe, like, the last 2 minutes.
Yep.
But just really disappointing.
I mean, how do you follow what that last
Oh,
match?
yeah. I mean, the crowd was totally gassed, too, after that.
Yeah.
But even still, you're talking Magnum TA, one of the biggest names they have.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was a tough spot for them,
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I went 2 stars on this. Just really disappointing.
It's almost like they shouldn't have advanced to this round in the tournament.
Baba?
Yeah.
I wonder if that was like a kind of a political thing. Like,
wonder too.
we'll bring you over there. We'll bring you over here. And we'll let you win a match. We'll let you win the first round match or whatever. Yeah. So it is Lex Luger and Tully Blanchard. Yeah, because they end up they're in the finals that year against Giant Baba and Isao Takagi. So I don't know who that is, but can you just imagine Lex Luger? Because even in '87, he would go. He'd make his wow every time he does.
He
a
would
move.
do what now?
He goes how what a I can't do it like him. I'm nowhere near the athlete that Lex Luger is, of course.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
none of us are.
Man,
who is really?
Who
he
is?
He was the total package.
Oh man, I love him. He's not my number one favorite wrestler of all time, but I probably love Lex Luger with a deeper passion than any other wrestler or figure in media.
Jiminy
Wow.
Christmas.
That's a strong statement.
That's a hot take.
He's so awesome. I was watching a match, a U.S. title match with him and Dusty, and the whole match is just Luger, having Dusty in a bear hug. for I mean literally 10 minutes, and every single time Luger adjusts or like squeezes or anything, he makes that Luger noise, and it's
that Luger noise
without fail. Well, let's see if I can do it. Ow! Ow!
I got Vince and Luger on this episode. It's really good.
It's late.
Yeah, it's late.
Although you're in California, so it's not.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I haven't even had dinner yet.
Oh my God.
Oh, Jesus.
You've only been held at gunpoint today and everything else.
Yeah, I know.
What else?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of held
What a
at gunpoint,
Thursday.
I felt like I was held at gunpoint when I watched the next match, which was...
What a segue. Holy shit.
I tried. Hacksaw, Jim Duggan, and Dick Slater. I was like, what the actual fuck? Because I was expecting the end of the tournament, and then they come out and they're like, we're going to have these two other matches. I'm like, what the fuck? I already been watching this for 3 hours, so you need to wrap this up. And then I had to watch Hacksaw Jim Duggan. My notes include, God, this is boring. How can I hear Dick Slater breathing? This is never ending. And thank God it's over.
And it was only 9 minutes too.
It felt like
that sums it up pretty well.
Did y'all notice the breathing noises?
I didn't catch that.
No, me neither.
And I know it was from Dick Slater. It matched all the breathing noises. Like matched everything that was going on with him in the ring, and it was just horrible to listen to. Like, and normally I like ring sounds or whatever, but it was just his breathing. You couldn't hear Duggan or the crowd or anything. It was just him breathing. I was like, no. It was awful. Did anybody like this?
No, this was. I mean, I was burnt out as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Why do the crowds love Jim Duggan?
Well, man. First of all, especially in WWF. I mean, chanting USA. That's an easy one,
Right.
But
yeah, that's gonna win.
But I mean, in Mid-South, he was a big star. And he was like a real kind of walking tall baby face. He'd have the 2x4, and
right.
he'd have these big crazy brawls with Buzz Sawyer and with, Ted DiBiase famously. So, I mean, he was a big star, and he is like charismatic, like all the, the big, stomping boot that he does, and ho and all that. Like it gives you something to chant along to. So, I can see why people take him.
What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, this was just kind of filler, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, just to, give the crowd a spell before, what was coming next. They just kind of threw it out there,
So, Duggan wins and retains his championship, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, pretty sure. Okay. So then a treat came, which was sorely needed after that debacle, and I was not expecting this match. So it was Dusty Rhodes versus Ric Flair, and these are two of my most favorite wrestlers of all time. And I could see Dusty Rhodes with his little growth that I named Rusty Rhodes. I'm talking WCW. Because we came up with this theory that it was his twin brother that he absorbed in the womb. His name is Rusty Rhodes.
Oh God.
So
I can't unsee that now.
Yeah, no kidding.
I mean, it's going to be headcanon from now on.
Yeah.
So I was thrilled to see Dusty and Rusty with Ric Flair and Baby Doll on the sideline. Baby Doll. And then it's just all of my notes are just just glowing loveliness for these two that I just adore them, and Everything that was boring about the match before is just wonderful in this match. Because it's not fast-paced. They're not, like, flipping, flying. You know, they're bleeding, so that's good. You get a lot more blood. And it's just very much what they both do. And they both know each other so well. And it's just so much fun to watch.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I mean, I like, a lot of people don't like the Ric Flair versus Dusty Rhodes, like their series as much as some of the other like real, I guess, higher end in people's minds Ric Flair matches. I don't know. I like them. They don't. They kind of all blend together for me. But I mean, I like that Flair kind of works a different match. Like it's, like you said, it's slower paced, and you can tell that in their matches, they really work like a big, they're trying to work, what's it called? Like working big, where
Work
they're
to the
they're
back
doing
rows, baby.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So they're doing these big reaches up to do a test of strength, and they're doing big slow turns when they're getting in a figure four, and they always do like the figure four reversal spot and all that. So yeah, I like their matches a lot. And you have Dusty's, of course, awesome charisma, and Flair, begging off and getting his cheap shots in, and yeah, these are awesome matches. I think, like, I don't know which one I would like the best. I don't know. There's this one in '86, and there's the title change in the summer of '86, and these two I think I'd probably like, closer to the top.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. I like this one. I've seen the Starrcade '85 match. I like this one more than that.
Me too.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely.
But I thought this was great. Just, like you said, big moves and just, blood everywhere, and just, this felt like, and I don't mean this is like disparaging, but this felt like Flair and Dusty's like a greatest type thing,
Yeah.
Just, play the big hits, leave them wanting more with the DQ finish, and I thought this was great.
Yeah. And especially on a show that's, it's a tag team tournament, so their role isn't to go out and steal the show with this incredible, epic hour-long draw or, big 45-minute match or something. It's like, you have a 20-minute, world title match, and that's usually how long I think their matches are in general, around like 20, 25 minutes.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was awesome. I love it when matches like serve their purpose.
Yep.
I loved Dusty getting Rick in the corner upside down and just stomping his face.
Oh God,
yeah,
that
was great.
That was awesome. I was freaking out.
Yeah, just slowly kind of walking over there like John Wayne and stomping his face.
And very deliberately stomping him, not like frantically, but just like deliberately. It's kind of. I don't know. Everything Dusty does just love it so much. And then
oozes charisma.
It does. It's just so much fun to watch. And then he's the one who pulls the trickery when he knocks Tommy Young out with a boot, and then hits Rick with his boot, and then puts his fucking boot on, and gets the belt and walks out. It's like, I'm done. I was cracking up. And then, of course,
going to my home in Texas.
So, Rick does not lose his belts since Dusty gets the DQ, but I don't care. He walks out of there with all the authority. In my mind, he won that match.
I agree.
All right. So then, after all of the edging, all night long, we finally get to the final match of the. Do you guys say tournament or tournament?
I say tournament.
I say tournament, but I'm Northeast, so everything, it could be my accent. Who knows?
I meant to ask that earlier, and then it just escaped my mind. Anyway, so we're up to Road Warriors versus Ronnie Garvin and Magnum TA again. And at this point, my feed on the network started, buffering. And I'm like, are you fucking serious right now? I have 16 minutes left in the show. I need this to be done. Because as much as I did enjoy it all overall, it's not a quick watch. Like, it's a fun watch, but you feel the minutes.
Yeah, 4 hours is 4 hours.
Yeah, like it's not a quick 4 hours. It's
I couldn't do this whole show in one setting. I had to watch it in a couple of different ones.
Yeah, same with me too.
I would recommend doing that, not marathoning it the way that I did, even though I did kind of like it that way. But anyway, this felt overall like kind of disappointing to me as
Agreed.
a final.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
And I get it, like they all worked really hard all night, and that's what I felt the most, is that they were gutting through it. It was still a pretty stiff battle, but they're just all digging deep to get it done. And it's not particularly heated. It's not, it doesn't tell much of a story. It's just like, let's get this fucking shit done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth. I mean, these are 4 tough guys, so, there's not going to be a lot of and it's the Road Warriors, so they can't have a real long match anyways, so.
Right.
But, what was really cool was Ronnie Garvin being the smallest guy in there, but kind of manhandling the Road Warriors.
He kind of did.
Yep.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Magnum looked pretty cooked.
Yeah.
Yes, he
was
did.
getting choked out.
He was done.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's not a guy that, has had a lot of super long matches either, at this point. So, yeah. It's a tiring day for all them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're fighting for $1 million here, so
That's true.
This is true.
you got to know.
And
Think of all the hair products Magnum TA could buy with that $1 million. My God.
Think of how much cocaine. Okay.
Well, that too.
And then, did Garvin break his hand on somebody's face at the end, or was that a
probably?
It looked.
Yeah, no. So that was that was part of a storyline.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he had been working like a hand injury, and he's feuding with Tully Blanchard kind of during this time period. And so like Tully Blanchard, in their matches, he'll work on his hand and stuff. So yeah,
Well,
so that
like
was
he
the
shattered
storyline
it.
thing. Yeah. Hey, he's good at making it look real, I guess.
He was really good at that.
Yeah.
But then Animal got the pin on Garvin for the win, and $1 million, and a big ass trophy, and an old lady.
Yes, the Widow Crockett, who refers to them as the Road Runners.
The Road Runners. The Road Runners. You have one job. Get the name right. And you say Road Runners.
Road Runners. That's so good.
Did she think Wile E. Coyote was on the other team? Oh my God.
The visual of Hawk trying to delicately shake her hand, and then her standing next to them is I don't know if there's going to be like a show image for this episode or what, but I think she needs to be involved there, and I think we clearly see where Jim Crockett Jr. Got his charisma or lack of charisma from.
Has the charisma of a piece of cheese.
Yeah. Yeah, Mrs. Crockett.
Good
and
these champions here, the Road Runners. These guys, they're great champions.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Getting some of that Louisiana moonshine, Mrs. Crockett? My God.
She's thinking, where are they going to get the $1 million from? I can't give them this check. I don't have $1 million.
Oh dear, yeah. That was a real highlight of the show.
Agreed.
A
No
great
joke.
high note.
I watched the Roadrunners bit 3 times.
Yeah, no, yeah, me too. Because I heard it and I thought, no.
That's what I did. That's the
she
exact
did
same
not
thing
just
I
say
did.
Roadrunners.
Unbelievable.
And sure enough, these great champions, the Roadrunners.
Roadrunners.
Yeah, incredible.
Good God.
What a way to end a show.
It was quite a day that I had today watching this. I'll tell you that much. All right, so just real quick, I think we've done a good job kind of going over all the matches and stuff, but we had talked about maybe doing a couple little categories here at the end for favorite match. I got to go with the opener for me, even though I love the blood later. I never got over that first match. What do you think, Matt?
I went, Sheep Herd is fantastic. It's just awesome brawl. Pretty easily match of the night for me.
What do you think, Drew?
Yeah. Same with me, the Sheep Herders match. That first match, though, it did really hold like a special place for me as well. I mean, that was an awesome match.
I couldn't get over it. And then, what was your least favorite, Drew?
Oh, Road Warriors versus Midnight Express.
What about you, Matt?
I actually went Magnum and Garvin against Baba and Tiger Mask. I could not get into that. Yeah, I could not get into that
Drew.
match at all. Nothing against Baba, but man, oof, it was rough.
I went Midnight Express versus Nelson Royal and Sam Houston.
You can't give the grandpa the worst night award.
Old man Royal. No. Even with Jim Cornette over there, still. What was our other MVP? Is the Fantastics, hands down.
So, which one? Can you pick? Like, did you like
Tommy.
one of them better than the other? Oh, you like Tommy better?
I like Tommy better.
So I liked Bobby Fulton. I thought Bobby Fulton, between the two of them, I mean, the Fantastics were the clear, team of the night. I thought Bobby Fulton, all of his selling, and he would all of his crazy facial expressions, and something we didn't mention in that first match was his insane Hulk up that he does on the floor.
God, yeah.
When he's crossing his eyes and shaking his fists a bunch. But yeah, I mean, him like selling all night and bleeding buckets in that Sheep Herders match, and getting his pants pulled down twice.
Oh, that is true. He does got that.
All of his great, selling, and yeah, he was awesome. Like, this was his night.
What do you think, Matt?
Yeah, I'd probably go with Fulton. Just like, everything Drew said, the selling he did throughout the night was, top notch.
All right, I had forgotten about the ass cheeks, so I'm going to give it to him as well, in particular. Let's see. What else did we want to mention?
I think that was all, right?
Was that all of them?
I think so.
Honorable mention to Arn Anderson, just because he kills everything. He's awesome. Best.
He's the man. So what did you guys think of the show overall?
There was a lot of things that I really loved and was surprised by. It was a roller coaster, though, honestly, because it felt like every time you'd get a peak, there'd be a low. And then you'd peak again, and then there'd be a low. So uneven, I guess if you're being pessimistic about it, is one way to describe it. And then a sort of like a anticlimactic win at the end. Mm-hmm. But all that being said, there was so much good in here that I really, really, really did love. And so, I mean, it was 2 thumbs up for me. Like, even with the bad stuff, all of this is just stuff that appeals to me. Like, in particular, the kind of fan that I am. All of this is my jam. Like, big time. The only thing that I did miss was the commentary. And now that I know that I can hear some commentary, that will probably make me think even higher of it after I listen to that.
Yeah, I think definitely worth a watch. Just cool to see. You don't see a lot of stuff like this. Full shows from this era like this. Tournaments or anything like that. So I mean, yeah, there were some down stuff in it, but you're gonna find that in every show pretty much for the But definitely worth a watch. Just really cool to see this type of stuff on the network. And the hidden gems section of the network, I think, is worth the $10 a month alone. To be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much good stuff they put on there, and this you got the the last battle of Atlanta and some of that AWA stuff. It's just really neat stuff they've been putting up there.
Yeah, and it's stuff to where it doesn't matter even if it's bad. Let's say it doesn't matter. It's still cool to see just because
right.
It's just kind of this obscure, weird stuff that that hasn't been seen in a long time or ever before. So even if it's just something that's totally. I mean, like that. Did you guys watch that AWA, that weird AWA pilot TV show?
Oh, I sure did.
That they put up. Oh, the total just a freak show with
really?
It's wild.
Yeah. It's unreal.
Ooh, I need to watch it.
It's surreal. Just absurdist theater,
Yeah, it's in the running for the weirdest wrestling thing I've ever seen.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds
absolutely.
I need
it's
that.
wild. It's absurd in all the best ways.
All right. Well, on our next episode, we will be reviewing that.
Yeah. So I really liked the show. I think it's one of I'm a big fan of 80s Crockett stuff. WCW, that's my promotion, that's
same.
that's what's really, special to me. So starting all the way through the 80s into, when the company ended. But this is one of the better Crockett shows, I think, of the 80s, excluding 1989, let's say, because that had all the great Flair and Steamboat and Terry Funk stuff. But I think this is better than a lot of the Starcades. It's a long show. If it was cut down a little bit, it would be far and away a total all-timer to me. But there's so much good stuff in here, and even a lot of the more bad stuff, I really got a kick out of the Giant Baba stuff and that kind of thing. But definitely worth a watch. And I think for it to be 4 hours and the vast 3.5 hours of that is all tag team matches. The fact that it's that entertaining and that varied, because there's a lot of variation in the types of matches and wrestlers, even within just a tag team format. So, for it to be that entertaining and that good, primarily just based on tag team matches, I think that says something.
I agree, and it's fun to watch, like you said, because it's not slick. Production-wise, we all get sort of used to with the current product, so it just adds a different layer to it, just how kind of raw it is, no pun intended.
Yeah, just a total curiosity, even if you're not into this kind of thing, just it's a real different experience watching it.
Yep.
All right, well, all that being said, is there anything that you would like to plug or talk about real quick, Drew?
The latest, I think it's the 6th episode of You Don't Know Billy Jack, is on the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed right now. It's a show that I do with my friend Jordan. We do a live watch of a wrestling match every episode, and it's essentially a very poor ripoff of the show Jeff Learns Wrestling, also on the Place to Be Nation wrestling feed.
I did notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and you know, I told them when I pitched the idea, I said, you know, this is essentially I'm just ripping you guys off. But I just love the concept of watching wrestling and someone reacting to wrestling who isn't a fan of it at all. And you know, my best friend Jordan, he's not a fan at all, so and like hates it. So you know, we watch matches together, and it's kind of the goal is I kind of picked out a series of matches that like a lot of people would consider to be like the best matches of all time, and so I want to watch those with him and see if there's like a transcendent element in the storytelling of the match to where like someone like him can get a sense that, oh, this really is something special, you know? So anyways, yeah, so that it's You Don't Know Billy Jack. The latest episode we watch Ric Flair versus Ricky Steamboat from Clash 6, the 2 out of 3 falls match.
Oh yeah, good stuff.
Yeah,
Very good.
yeah.
I listened to that episode. It was fun.
Yeah,
I would
thank you.
recommend it. What about you, Matt? Now that your cherry is popped.
Well, check out the weekend playlist on placetobenation.com. Myself and Jenny and a few other fine folks of Place to Be Nation put together some music videos and playlists for your weekend listening. And I don't know, if inspiration strikes, maybe I'll write something, maybe not. We'll see.
All right. I like it.
I'm usually good for one a year, so.
We'll put you down for that. And then, of course, we're going to be watching that nonsense that y'all told me about earlier. So,
Oh yeah.
be on the lookout for that. What do I have? Oh my God, what do I have? I got a Geek and Sassy coming probably in the next week, and Talking WCW next week, in which we talk about war games. So
Oh man,
Nice.
it's kind of a slow month for me. So anyway, thank y'all for listening, and thank you boys for joining me in this madness. And I think it's a triple disqualification at this point. So we're all out. Bye.
5 minutes gone. 10 minutes gone.